Is there any watch or any new release that kind of made you passionate about like, oh, I really love this, release this year?
Hey guys, I am Thomas. I'm your host, the founder of WatchDNA. I'm joined with Cagdas here, my friend and also contributor on the platform. But first, I want to thank you to be part of our community and helping us build WatchDNA as the global community for the watch lovers around the world. I'm very excited today because we have a special guest, somebody that I have the pleasure of knowing for over a decade now, director of digital content for Sharp Magazine, Justin Mastine-Frost with us. Thank you so much for joining us. As I saw in the intro, we know each other for above 10 years. I think the first time we met was in LA actually for Hamilton Behind the Camera Award.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, that would have...
I don't even remember.
I remember.
I think at the time I had hair and you had less tattoos.
Yes.
I think
both of those are accurate.
That's the time frame. Yeah, exactly. Something that we love on the platform is to basically talking to brands and people behind the brands and watch aficionados, and also someone like you that are very involved in the community, and also a well-known established journalist and writing a lot of content. When we met, I think you were with What You Seek at the time, or maybe even before that.
I think I was at Rob Report at the time.
How's everything?
Been a very, very busy and productive year at Sharp. A lot of projects that we've been working on across the various industries that we cover. But yeah, good year.
I saw a little bit of your background because that's also something that we talk. But you were involved you worked with BMW at one point.
Yeah.
And then you do obviously a lot of content for cars as well. So one question that I have for you is, what do you think I will not ask you about brands and everything, but what do you think is the specificity about watch industry, car industry? Is there anything similar? Is there anything different?
A lot of similarities, a lot of differences. I think the attraction for a lot of people is very much like the engineering side.
Yeah.
I mean, both engineering and design, if we're being honest. But as far as the business model goes as well, I mean, you have the brand and how the brand operates. You have the retail space and how the retail space operates, and those are very different entities.
Yeah.
It's also a really interesting world when you go from like knowing about it and being geeky about it to being, behind the curtain. You learn a lot.
I always said that it's always good to learn. It's always good. There's always somebody that will know about a specific topic that yourself. That's what I personally believe. So it's always good to talk to others, expert, or people in the industry. You were mentioning, and I was asking you the question about watches and cars. And one day, a few years ago, somebody in the industry was saying that it's kind of like wine and cheese. It's like they're very much well together. People that love nice car, they usually like nice timepieces. People that like nice timepieces usually like nice car. So
yeah, I would say the biggest misstep people make when talking about that though is the assumption of like the level of interest between the two, or the level of the willingness to spend between the two. Like that idea of like, oh well, guy with a collection of Ferraris, he must have a Richard Mille.
Okay. Yeah.
Go to a lot of these car shows, see a lot of these car owners. You'll see some vintage Tag Heuer. You'll see some Rolex, or even like like an Aqua Racer. The scale doesn't line up just because they'll spend six figures on a car doesn't mean they'll spend six figures on a watch.
When somebody has a watch, or when somebody is starting to get into watches a little bit, they also have few. I know that in my Hamilton time, a lot of people were showing beautiful timepieces, and then they were like, look, I love this khaki field. It's like, I'm not in this situation, so I don't have a fancy car, so I don't know. But at the same time, I can imagine there's tourists, there's multiple days in a year, in a lifetime, so you don't have to wear all the time the same. So I'm sure some people have a beautiful Swatch wearing, and maybe they have multiple cars, and they have a Fiat, which is nice, and that's the car that my wife wants, and they have a Ferrari, as you mentioned. So
Do you think people match their cars with their watches, or their watches with their cars?
I think that's a very like person-to-person situation. I've definitely known some guys that are like, oh, well, I'm driving the black 911 today, so I'm gonna grab this watch or that watch, or I think it's more of a personality type thing. Like certain people like have that kind of click between the things in their lives. I wouldn't say like one bucket or the other if I had to pick.
Can we do kind of a really quick wrist check as well? Because I see that Justin has a really cool looking timepiece.
What are you wearing?
Arcanaut Fordite.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, I think it was around last year or the year before where I really started leaning into, if something's coming into the collection, I want it to be from friends. And by from friends, I mean like people who work at, so James, Black Badger, James Thompson.
Yeah.
Thompson? Oh my God, I swear. He's going to murder me if I get that wrong.
I see your phone vibrating already. It's like he's texting you. I forgot my name.
I'm a dead man. Yeah. So he's been working with Anders and the guys from Arcanaut for quite a while doing these Fordite dials. I'd wanted to see one in person forever.
Yeah.
When I was in Copenhagen, I met up with Anders. I want to say the brewery is called War Pigs, and Arcanaut kind of jokingly refers to it as like their second HQ. Went for drinks, actually got to see them in person. I'm like, okay, this just has to happen. Not right then and there, but you know, they sent me a handful of like, okay, these are the next kind of dial cuts that are coming up, and I picked this one out.
Being in an industry, obviously we look at people wrists. That's something that we do. I used to be in the alcohol business, and I used to look at what people were drinking at the time. You know, that's the thing. Yeah. But something that I love about your own post is most of the time you don't see your face, but as soon that you see a wrist, boom, we recognize your tattoos, right? So we know, that's him.
The number of times that I've had people go, I know that arm.
Yeah, exactly.
No joke. Like,
exactly.
Just, like, on an escalator.
That can be a new career, you know, like how model, you know.
Yeah. I mean, even like going back to when I first started going to the fairs, like my friend Barbara Palumbo, that's how her and I met.
Yeah.
I was like going up the escalator of Basel. She's like, wait a minute, I know this. I know that arm.
Yeah, for sure. So coming back to Basel, Basel World. So you obviously traveling often. You mentioned Copenhagen, you mentioned Basel. What is the day-to-day life for a director of digital content marketing? Traveling a lot, being home sometimes. I don't know. Tell me.
This year I've been home quite a bit more. I mean, there's been some changes on the personal side that I've been kind of adapting to as well, so I wasn't really complaining. Last year was what you can only call lunacy. I did the math, I was on 36 flights last year. As far as actual day-to-day goes, you know, getting content assigned to people, editing what's coming in, coordinating with the team to make sure things are getting published, relaying with the print team, because obviously as issues roll out, that all gets converted to web as well.
Yeah.
I mean, this year that also included redesign of the website. Minor in the sense that it's, you know, it's still very much, it's not like you're opening the page like, oh, this is completely different. But like, you know, so working with the development team to get that sorted. So all of those components, and then the travel side and the event side, when partner brands have any kind of activations going on somewhere, some things will freelance out, some things we want to keep the team in-house.
For sure. I remember we spoke last year about it and you were like insane. You're like, I don't know where am I next week. And even to book today, you know, obviously you mentioned this year was a little bit softer, I will call it. But still, you know, you had meetings, you have, you know, in and out. So thanks for taking the time.
Happy to. I'm glad we finally were able to do this.
What will be the most interesting or remote location that you actually went?
What's more remote, Northern Finland or Sardinia?
Okay, not the same style.
No, completely different, like different ends.
Okay, I like that.
Probably Northern Finland.
I'm not going to ask you about the food because I don't want anybody to be jealous and mad at me. So, you know, I'm sure there's a specificity in all. Okay, beautiful. And that was work-wise or personal-wise?
That was work-wise. A few years ago, but the more recent Porsche Tag Heuer launches.
I think I saw the campaign actually.
So it was Porsche Experience Center near Kitila. Or at least the airport was Kitila. I think it was like another small town.
I just say but I have no clue where Kitila. I apologize.
It's north of the Arctic Circle.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
What is your favorite GMT watch?
That I own or that I don't own?
Both of them, like maybe one from your collection, one kind of like holy grail. I like this GMT. I should have it in my collection.
That I have JLC Master Compressor Geographic. Chunky, divery, 2 time zone, but not just the extra hand. I've always kind of liked that era of Jaeger. And then on the grail quote unquote side, I've got an obscure one, actually. The Urban Jürgensen 1 GMT. Kind of like one of their last cool pieces that came out before the change of ownership and everything. But I just remember the first time I saw it when it came out, I'm like, this is just neat.
What I realized that there's a lot of brands, a lot of model that they're, you know, overall everybody like or everybody have a good, you know, feeling about it. But there's some specific model that people hate or love. You know, it's very like, I come back on my experience, but I had a lot of feedback about the Ventura, for example, the triangle one. And I remember there's some customers that were very fun and they're like multiple in the collection. And some they're like, oh, I don't like this shape. So it's very unique and, you know, very personal taste. That's what I love about watches, right? It's like a very unique, very styled, very, you know.
Yeah.
And depending on your mood as well, you know, sometimes you feel like wearing that, sometimes you think wearing something else.
Around the time that you and I met, my ex-husband had 2 different versions of the Ventura. Like I had the Ventura XL. Like one was like the full DLC blackout look, and then one was like a stainless steel hand.
Okay.
Listen, talking about the passion so far this year, is there any watch or any new release that kind of made you passionate about like, oh, I really love this, release this year?
You know what? I found this year's been a little sleepy in terms of releases, but definitely a few. One of them was the Chopard Alpine Eagle Ceramized Titanium, gray greenish case finish, orange indices, rubber strap. Not something that really broke the mold, not like a brand new model, not any of that, but there was just something about how they executed that every time I see it, I remember trying it on. It's one of those like, damn, that was good. Otherwise, it's funny, I had to try to think about this the other day, and I'm like, not incredibly crazy groundbreaking, but seeing the Santos in titanium just recently. Fear's doing Studio Underdog stuff again.
The Manhattan.
Yeah, and then the Mimosa. Pre-order day was like yesterday or the day before?
Already, I think, closed right now.
Like It was like an 8-hour period or something like that.
I was just talking with Thomas earlier. As you know, we kind of covered the wind-up watch fair in New York for WatchDNA, and literally many of the people were lined up for the Studio Underdog Fear's Manhattan watch. Like, it was really crazy.
Yeah, honestly, that's not surprising to me. I was trying to think because I saw some footage of the lineup as well, and I was kind of wondering, but they've kind of really dialed in that exclusivity factor with that brand collaboration. I mean, the price point is great. The watches are cool, and it's a really clever way, and I'm sure the wind-up guys love it, right? It's like, oh, we've got all these people lined up to come into our opening event.
Just literally 4 blocks of people in the first day only.
So, I remember he called me. He was like, "Oh, I'm in line," and then 2 hours later, I just moved 10 minutes.
It's like Moonswatch all over again.
Yeah, crazy. It's crazy. So I had a question, and I know you have. It's maybe something on the side, or maybe a passion. But if you can explain a little bit, because obviously I follow, and I'm on your newsletter, and you have this new, maybe not new, but this concept. I mean, I have my note because it's the name, but the cursive perspective. It's very hard for me to pronounce that, but you got it. Can you tell us a little bit, because I love this idea of handwriting.
I've always been one to take notes when I travel, like pen and paper notes.
Yeah.
It's just always been a thing for me. I started getting into fountain pens probably in and around the pandemic or just before.
Yeah.
Part of that was Ian Sean. He made a watch at one point, actually.
Okay.
But he's primarily like a fountain pen maker based out of the States that like started in his basement and built out this big workshop. Anyway, long story short, I knew him. I decided, I'll buy one of your pens. Started writing with fountain pens. Like, I really like this. But the evolution of that to doing the Substack thing was just the amount of work that I'm doing these days, which like I'm still passionate about. Don't get me wrong. Like I love the work that I get to do and the stories that I get to tell. But it's very, very much within a set structure. Yeah. When you sit on a flight for 9 hours and you're sitting there with your thoughts and a pen and you can just kind of scribble away and it's just whatever. It's not about a set assignment, it's about whatever I'm thinking about in the moment.
Is it a thing that you plan, or is it a thing that, no, I feel like I'm inspired right now. There's a lot of authors, writers, whatever, and they're like, oh, I got the wow moment. Let's just do it now,
It's never planned.
Yeah. Okay.
It might be like a specific topic might hit me kind of earlier in the day.
Yeah.
But it's never like I don't know how many pages it's going to be. I don't know what structure it's going to be. I also don't scrap pages. You'll see in some of them there's things crossed out. Like usually it's pretty clean and I keep it, whatever was on my mind that I wanted to write is what I wanted to write, and this is what the universe gets. But yeah.
No, I like it. It's a cool comment. It's a cool thing because everything, obviously your position, digital, right? So a lot of things, like when I talk to my son and he's now, I'm lucky that he is in a school that they actually do handwriting and things like that. But I hear more and more is on the computer, more and more is on tablet and things like that. Yeah. So it's just coming back in. I do a little bit of writing, but honestly, even myself, I cannot really read after. I'm like the doctor that I've never been, Yeah. But it's very inspiring, and so every time that I get it, I'm like, oh, it's cool, And just taking the time, it's kind of like. Again, I'm comparing and maybe has nothing to do, but it's like when I take my in the morning and I take a new automatic and it's not winded and I just wind it for a few seconds. That kind of remind me. It's like, taking the time of reading, of writing, and just, go with the flow,
Yeah, exactly.
I like that. I like the feeling.
I've definitely had some friends give me shit because they're like, I can't read. Can you just type it? I'm like, no.
There were a few words that I might have to ask my wife for, but that's
part of that. Look, you get what you get.
Exactly. One of the last questions that you have is, obviously you've been in a position for, not in this position, but in the industry for a long time, and well-established journalist, I will call it.
Thank you.
What will you say the one or two advice for the maybe new generation or somebody that is not in an industry that wants somehow be in an industry or that is interesting? There's obviously a lot of watch aficionados out there, but there's few people slowly, and that's something that I love about WatchDNA, is that anybody can have a story, submit it, then we will review it, we will send it to some journalists that are actually working in this field and make sure that the facts are proper. But what advice will you say somebody that will somehow want to be not at this level, but get into it?
I think usually my first question is, are you sure? It's tough, man. I spent my first decade doing the automotive writing as like the side hustle. It was very much I think from an advice standpoint, don't be afraid to ask questions.
Okay, I love
Don't
that.
be afraid to knock on doors. That applies just as much to like places you want to work for and also stories you want to tell. If you want to learn how to report on things, you got to just do it.
I kind of love to say life about half empty or half full, and depending of where you are in your life, depending of what situation you have, it's so positive or negative, but in the end of the day, it's the perspective that you're giving, right? To the situation. So I love the comment that you just made.
I think along the same lines is like gratitude is always important. Like never taking for granted. Like, I mean, I always say like, earlier I was saying like, oh, I was on 36 flights last year. It was a lot, it was tiring, but like the shit I get to do doing what I do, like I'm not complaining. I will never take for granted those experiences, and anyone,
Where do you see the AI is going? Do you think it's killing our creativity, or it's like really helping us? Like, what is the thin line there?
You know what? It's been interesting speaking to other people in various industries that we cover about the topic, because some treat it with a blanket, like no, make it go away, and others are finding ways to make it part of the creative process in a way that doesn't strip away the original creativity, where the idea still comes from the designer and the execution still comes from the people working. I'm not worried about it. I know myself, my team, and like the same goes for a lot of other editorial teams, like we're not touching it. I've seen what it can do. I've seen, I've had people submit to me things that I'm like, the soul still isn't there. As like, what is soul? Sure. But I don't think it's coming for all of our jobs. I think it's something we're all going to have to learn to deal with. And what that turns into, I think we're still too early to really know.
I work sometimes with students. Like, actually right now I have two groups of students that are working, and we are I'm not giving all the details, but we are contemplating adding some AI and some elements on the WatchDNA platform. And I keep telling them that I am so happy that when I decided to go back to school, when I did my master, it was pre-ChatGPT and pre-AI. Obviously AI was involved, but not to the general public, I guess. Because I would be so tempted, to figure out ways like, how can I not, use it, but don't tell people, So I'm like, I did it just before the big wave, I know exactly right. Whoa. But now the schools are actually saying, yes, use it somehow. Tell us that you're using. Tell us why you're using it. At what point, But it's interesting. For me, I actually use it often because even though I'm French, it's okay. Even though I'm French, I do a lot of mistakes in orthograph and spelling, and so that's kind of my little thing because But is there anything that we should get excited to learn more about Justin, about Sharp, about anything in the months to come, or maybe next year? I don't know.
Our winter issue of Sharp's coming up pretty soon. With another fantastic cover star. So excited about that. On the professional side, that's about all I can kind of tease at. We've got a lot of other projects on the go within Sharp that there's always something on the move.
Cool. Listen, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate. And I have a little gift for you. No pressure, but a little. So yeah, I think it will look good. You don't have tattoos yet on on your face, but
no, that's not, like I said, anything
That's
that
not
you
in the
said-
plan.
no
No problem.
Thank you so much. This was a lot of fun.
yeah,
It was nice meeting you.
Thank you guys. Hopefully you enjoy, and make sure you follow Sharp Magazine, Justin.